All right, to help us unpack this, let's now welcome governance expert Dr. Sam Koma. Dr. Koma, very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. Perhaps help us unpack this report. I mean, given that the number of households receiving services from municipalities increased, as we are hearing, between 2023 and 2022 and 2023 financial years. Does this spell some form of good news, albeit very little from an accessibility perspective? Or could it also spell out, other issues? For instance, the report indicates with solid waste management, sewage and sanitation showing the largest percentage increases, while water, which is a big focus today, and electricity recorded the lowest increases.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. Yes, that's the interesting observation that one can make, that the release of the non-financial census of municipalities report by SABC today coincided with the hosting of the National Water and Sanitation in Daba, a gathering which was addressed by President Ramaphosa this morning, and he publicly expressed that the issue of water in the country is now an emergency that needs to be tackled by all key role players, including, of course, government institutions and also the private sector and other non-state actors. And this is also what is revealed in the report, that yes, there's been some progress recorded in the provision of, say, the free basic services as per the government policy around that. In the main, of course, we're looking at provision of electricity, water and sanitation. But also the report does highlight that you still have some provinces, such as the Northern Cape and Northwest, that recorded an increase in the provision of bucket toilets. While in other provinces, there seemed to have been some movement in the reduction of the use of, for example, the bucket toilets. So the issue of provision of municipal services remains a challenge for many local citizens in terms of access. We also know that the cost of municipal services have also gone up, of course, in part informed by the cost of living. And also we know that majority of households live below the poverty line. They're unable to afford some of these basic services, and hence we now have other households, other individuals resorting to issues of, for example, illegal connections. And this is a matter that has also been discussed at the Indaba, to say there's this increase of this activity that is taking place across municipalities. Of course, it's a criminal activity that requires the attention of law enforcement. But also in the report, the startling highlight or observation coming out of the report is that you also have many municipalities that have a higher number of vacant positions at the managerial level. In the main, we're referring to positions of municipal managers and also the chief finance officer. So that also impedes municipalities in terms of having a clear strategic focus on how to go about ensuring that there's uninterrupted provision of these basic services. Yeah. So the issue of acquisition of talent at managerial level in areas such as engineering needs to be immediately attended to by municipalities. And I'm glad that at the Indaba, this issue was also flagged, that it's high time that municipalities recruit and also appoint people with what it takes, the experience and all that.
Yeah, Dr. Koma, you mentioned a number of things. I want to, just go back to that last point that you're just making now in terms of municipalities. I mean, municipalities are really, should rather be the focal point. I mean, how concerned should we be then with the remarks that President Cyril Ramaphosa made even today as he was addressing that Indaba, saying that it was a shame for municipalities to be returning money to Treasury while communities battle with basics like water provision. We're also at the same time hearing today, that South Africa loses up to 50% of water, water from things like leaks, poor and old infrastructure. So when you then look at municipalities and what you're saying in terms of the lack of resources, probably also the lack of leadership at managerial level, what interventions do you think then should be addressed, I would imagine also very quickly?
Yes, in the interim, what is urgent is for municipalities to increase their capacity around project management. They receive funds from the National Treasury on infrastructure. Where is their capability internally to ensure that there is a turnaround around the delivery of these basic services with the available funding that they've received from the National Treasury. Two, we've been calling for the review of the funding model of municipalities. To say 20 years of local government experience has clearly shown that the funding municipalities get from the fiscus is inadequate to enable municipalities to respond to these evolving expectations, demands, interest of local residents. Population sizes have gone up in many of these municipalities that require the issue of having to review the funding model. In the long term, government should consider reviewing the constitution and thus ensure that the issue of provision of water becomes the competence of the national government, because evidence is now clearly showing that municipalities are incapable of providing this basic municipal service, which is water. They can't get the engineers. Issues of patronage come into play. That has also hampered municipalities in terms of ensuring that they provide these services to the residents.
Dr. Koma, very quickly before we wrap up, to what extent then do these stats from Stats SA help us and help in the ensuring there's accountability from a government perspective, especially given what you're saying now in terms of holding national government accountable?
Yes, you're right. So we're using these reports coming from, for example, Stats SA, because these are official reports that are telling us the state of affairs in respect to provision of basic services, which, by the way, is a constitutional obligation. People have the right to have access to these basic services. So it's upon local residents to hold councillors, the municipal councils accountable, including the administration, in terms of ensuring that there is a fast tracking of the provision of these services. The same, we should hold the provincial governments, including the national government departments, COGTA in the main, and also the National Treasury, in terms of ensuring that there is dedicated capacity building of municipalities to be able to fulfill their constitutional obligations.
Dr. Koma, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for your analysis. To governance expert Dr. Sam Koma there, just responding, of course, to the latest Stats SA quarterly financial statistics around the municipalities and also the number of households, it says, receiving services from municipalities having increased between 2022 and 2023 financial years.